The XFL, when you think about it, you think about that league that Vince McMahon came out with in 2001, where it started off, had a lot of momentum, then it turned gimmicky, came and resurrected in 2020, went through a bankruptcy because of the pandemic, and now it's back with a powerhouse group. You're talking about Redbird Capital and Jerry Cardinal. You're talking Danny Garcia, and then you're talking Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, right? Can the XFL exist under this powerhouse? They already got through year one in the XFL championship. The momentum is there. Now can they sustain it? Forbes went into detail to find out, looking into the business of the XFL. Danny Garcia and The Rock's relationship, you're talking about a couple who was once married, now divorced, and they still remain business partners, right? And Danny Garcia, you have a powerhouse woman. She was able to help him build a career for himself. And now here they are, business partners, aligning with one of the more interesting sports properties in the XFL. Danny Garcia is a good fit for this particular project because she has the vision. It was her who made the crazy phone call to Dwayne Johnson to pitch him on this.
We had talked about the league right at the beginning because we were watching Vince do it, and I was like, man, I'm telling you, I wish Vince had invited us in. So I spent a period of time doing my research to say, okay, what do we got? What's the process? What's the numbers? Does it look real? Sitting on it. I knew that property. I knew what I could do with that property. I knew the brand architect, the storytelling. So I had to get that in my head, and then call DJ. You don't call Dwayne Johnson and say, I have a decent idea. It's got to be big and important and meaningful for him and life-changing to the people. And that's what this was.
When Danny first came to me and said, hey, let's buy the XFL, I said yes. I needed the XFL because football didn't end on my terms. I didn't go out in a blaze of glory, big retirement. The NFL was my dream. Football was going to be the thing that I was going to be able to buy my parents their first house, buy my mom anything she wanted. And when that didn't happen, that crumbled for me. And there was something psychologically that I realized that I hadn't dealt with because football didn't end on my terms, that the XFL wound up giving to me.
What the XFL is for Dwayne Johnson is an opportunity to present opportunities to those guys who may not get the opportunity otherwise, right? That's what the XFL is to him. He's taking it and wearing it on his sleeve.
These players are player 54. 53 men on an NFL roster. I was always number 54. DJ, you're good, but you're not good enough. So your dream ends here. The fucking chip that put on my shoulder, this is the same chip that these players have. The thing that made it the easy yes was, but wait a second, I never had this shot. I wish I had the XFL when I was coming out of Miami. Man, this would have been amazing for me. Let's do it. Let's create that league of opportunity for players.
Dwayne Johnson, Danny Garcia, Jerry Cardinal, they reformatted. They went to the NFL and they said, let's be partners in this. And so you can say the XFL could be a developmental league for the NFL. And if that's the business, then perhaps it can work this time.
The NFL was my goal and dream. And there's an incredible amount of boundless respect that I have for the NFL. That first iteration of the XFL, the setup was different. It was combative with the XFL. And that was a decision that Vince had made at that time. But this time around, in this iteration, we went to New York and we sat with Roger and Troy Vincent and their counsel and said, we come to you with our hat in hand. And we're not looking to compete. There is no competition. This is the league, and that's the shield. Whether XFL wins or not, I'm always going to protect that shield because that was my dream. And so we said we'd love to find a pathway to partner up here to grow the game of football because we love the game of football. That was one of the main anchors and the differences from that first iteration, early 2000s of the XFL to this one. We came to that meeting with a lot of love and a lot of respect.
In Arlington, Texas is where the XFL places their hubs. This is a league that has 8 teams, and throughout the week they practice in this hub in Arlington. It's good from a cost standpoint because now you don't have teams all over the place. I had a chance to catch up with Russ Brandon, the president of the XFL. We were able to talk about the business, the overview, and what the XFL is planning, not only after year one, but in years to come.
to have the opportunity to work with so many great people on a daily basis. As I call it, 8 spinning plates at one time down here when we're rolling during the season. I was a nervous wreck about the logistics. You've got 25 charters, you have buses, you have 8 teams, 700 athletes in hotels around this community. All your meals, all your workouts, practice, team meetings, individual meetings, and this has all got to be seamless at one time. You know, the product on the field could not have been better. I could not be more pleased with how these guys executed it. And that started from when we hired our coaches back in May of last year, right? And you see the roster of coaches that we have. We have over 150 years of NFL player personnel experience. To get to this point, to be here Saturday night in San Antonio and watch 2 great teams with 2 great coaches come together, you know, it'll be a little bit emotional, I think, for a lot of people because people have put so much into this. This has not been a 1-year undertaking. We've been building this for 3 years. We will continue to be growing. We're in this for the long haul. This is a long-term play. Now we have staffs in each market, you know, business staffs that'll be engaged in the community year-round. We'll have player activation, coaching activations. You know, I think our staffs did a hell of a job this year, quite frankly, in the time frame that they had to work. Now we've got that whole calendar year we can focus on that. And we have over 80 players at this point that are going to the NFL for different tryouts because 8 of our teams are done and we have 2 left for the championship game. And that's what we stand for, to provide them that opportunity, if that's what they choose to do, to watch people chase their dream, whatever that may be. That's what this league's about.
To tell the story around second opportunities or first opportunities, there is a uniqueness about it. The XFL is providing that, and it does have a crowd. And if you don't believe that, just look at the 20,000 people who showed up at the Alamo Dome on May 13th for the 2023 XFL Championship game. Again, the first one since 2001 when the XFL was born. At the Alamo Dome, you get a sense that there's a lot of anticipation for this game, a lot of nervousness. Dwayne Johnson shows up, Danny Garcia shows up, Russ Brandon is there. They have to pull this off. They have to make sure that it's magnificent. They have to make sure that the fans got what they paid for. They have to make sure that this presentation, which is shown on national television, is everything that it lived up to be, because they have seasons to worry about afterwards.
Look at what one decision created. Like one really powerful decision and a whole bunch of amazing people. You know, our 2 teams and all our athletes, they're so passionate about this moment that they got here. Everyone's like, oh, okay, this is XFL 4.0. This is XFL 1.0 for me. You know, we dream about our wedding day, dream about having a baby, having those experiences, but no one can prepare you for a championship game when you own a league.
I have been feeling this surreal thing for some time now, ever since we bought the XFL. But coming to this particular event, championship game, we've completed the season. And that was in itself one of our goals. Historically, spring football hasn't worked. So my goal was, can we get through this season? What does that season look like? So now we're here, championship game. It's a special feeling.
I think the bet is a crazy bet, but not a bet that you can't win. Expansion right now within that single entity is the name of their game. You want to go from 8 teams to 12 teams. They're trying to work small, keep everything cost efficient so they can build a business. That was a challenge in itself. You get through year 1 and the rest is sky's the limit.
I understand, you know, the skepticism, because that's always going to be there. But for me, we just got to truck through it and continue to do what we do, and it'll all shake out how it's meant to shake out. And if we do good, if we find some success, if we do some good things in this first season, great. We're going to learn from it and we're going to move on. If we fail, then we're going to learn from it and we're going to move on.